Hello, welcome to the channel. The next couple of minutes is going to be a semi-movie rant. I will be talking about Indiana Jones and his watches or lack thereof, and also start the conversation as to what watches we would have liked to have seen Indiana Jones wear, or what watches might have been the most appropriate for this character. Before I get to the watches, I do want to give a little bit of commentary on the Indiana Jones franchise and the state of this intellectual property. If this does not interest you, please stay tuned or scroll ahead to about 3 minutes and 30 seconds to get to the watch portion. This video will be the non-watches of Indiana Jones. Let's get started. It's official, the Indiana Jones franchise is no more. After only 5 films, well, let's face it, after 3 legendary blockbuster films of the 1980s and 2 made-for-TV movies. Just kidding. No, he's not. Regardless, though, the Indiana Jones story has finally come to an end, according to Lucasfilm. I do love Blu-rays, and this collection is awesome because it does feature all 4 films that Steven Spielberg directed. As well, it has a bonus disc that has interviews, making of the films, behind the scenes, and it's just nice to have a full, complete set of all the Indiana Jones films in one place. Or so we thought. Fast forward to 2023, we do have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I have to admit, when I first heard Dial of Destiny, I figured maybe Indiana Jones is on a quest for the holy grail of watches. Not to be, but we'll talk about that. If there is one good thing that came from the film, spoiler alert, it's not the watch. It's Hasbro and Disney, the parent company that owns Lucasfilm, were able to release some really cool action figures. Nerd alert. And if you love the first 3 films like I do, you'll be happy to see Sean Connery's likeness here with Henry Jones Sr. Get a really cool Professor Jones in his signature outfit, the Henry Jones Jr.
Don't call me Junior.
Oh, sorry about that. Of course, I meant Indiana Jones, Dr. Jones. Anyway, with the release, we got a lot of really cool characters, including some of the more notable villains from the films. Here's a good example of 3 great villains that you can get with this release. Wait, what? What are you saying? Helena Shaw was not a villain in the last movie? Seriously? I gotta rewatch that one for sure. Alright, only kidding. In all due fairness, it wasn't the actress's fault or the character. I thought she was somewhat charming and semi-funny. It just did not work for the Indiana Jones franchise. It might have been more successful for Lucasfilm to give this character her own story arc within the Indiana Jones universe than to call this an Indiana Jones film. The Dial of Destiny is a time and place that nobody needed to see with the Indiana Jones character, and literally nobody asked for. Indiana Jones is a perpetual character and his adventures are endless. Nevertheless, for better or for worse, we get to see an elderly, gravely embittered Dr. Jones back on the screen. No disrespect. Tip my hat to Harrison Ford. Dude's in his 80s, taking care of his business and getting paid. Thanks for the memories, but time to recast the part. George Lucas himself told Steven Spielberg when he was pitching the first film to him that Indiana was based on the Saturday matinee serial action adventure characters from the 30s and 40s that he grew up watching, and he thought it was a better character than even James Bond, which is a franchise character. Well, how many James Bonds have there been? How many Batmans? How many Supermans? Heck, Harrison Ford wasn't even the originally casted Indiana Jones. It was Tom Selleck of Magnum P.I. fame, and due to scheduling conflicts, they had to recast it. So no, Harrison Ford wasn't even the first choice. But I digress. We can debate this all day long. Movie rant concluded. Back to the main topic of the video. I, in fact, do want to talk about watches, and today I am rocking a very cool Seiko. It's an analog automatic field-like watch, day date. Great watch, great lume. Love this watch. So what does any of this have to do with Indiana Jones? I'm glad you asked. It's obvious I am a big fan of the character, and I have always thought that he should have had a signature watch. They got the hat, the whip, the jacket right. The only thing really lacking in my book was a signature timepiece for Indy. Spoiler alert, he does finally get a watch in the Dial of Destiny, which is supposed to be his father's watch, which strikes me as odd as Henry Jones Sr. carried a pocket watch. Nevertheless, they did partner with Hamilton, a very reputable brand. Let's look at their website real quick for this American classic, quartz-driven small seconds hand watch. This watch looks nice enough, but I think we all need to take it easy.
Take it easy.
That's right. I think that for what you're getting, the price is borderline ridiculous. $745 for a quartz watch, mineral glass, battery-powered watch. Ouch. I'm sure this is a well-made watch, but the price just does not line up for me. Never owned a Hamilton watch, but if I was going to buy one, it would be like the Khaki King. A unique looking watch that's got wonderful appearance and great fit finish. Includes sapphire glass and an amazing automatic movement with an 80-hour power reserve. The Khaki King is an awesome watch, and I will definitely keep that on my list and check one out soon. While we're at it, how about the Khaki Aviation? So many good choices with Hamilton that they could have gone with. Oh well, on with the show. For the purposes of this video, I did pick out two watches today, one for the original trilogy, and then a more modern watch that might line up with the last two films. This is strictly a hypothetical what if, but it's kind of fun to seek out the fortune and glory of finding some really cool watches for one of the most iconic and beloved action-adventure characters in motion picture history. Alright, my first pick for the original trilogy is going to be none other than the Orient Bambino Small Seconds, and I went with the white dial and the silver stainless steel case, which is a very moderate 40.5 millimeter diameter, 12 millimeter case thickness, 46 millimeter lug to lug. This is definitely a watch Indy could wear. I love the Orient brand. It's sort of a global brand, and it does have some good history to it. It's been around for 70 plus years and is indirectly owned by Seiko, which owns the Epson Group, which of course is the parent company of Orient. As we jump to OrientWatchUSA.com to check out some of the details of this watch. MSRP $335. A lot of watch for the money. You're getting that amazing automatic movement. You have hand winding, hacking, seconds hands, 40-hour power reserve. Love that domed crystal. This is the perfect balance between classic and clean simplicity. Great quality for the money. I have done a full review of this watch. I'll put a link to it. I just think there's so much you can do with this watch, and I could definitely see Indy wearing something like this, especially with the durable leather band we have on it right now. Here's the original 21 millimeter leather band. It's sort of a crocodile pattern, leather signed with that white dial. Put a black band on it, and Indy's wearing this to Club Obi-Wan with his tuxedo. Tapping into his alter ego, Dr. Jones, he's wearing the cufflinks, but completely overlooked the watch, which would have taken this character to the next level and really drawn that parallel between Indy and James Bond. What do you think? The Bambino. Dress it up, or put on the hat, grab the whip and the leather jacket, and tour the globe seeking fortune and glory. It's the perfect balance of classic and refinement as well as action adventure, and it just works for me. Let me know your thoughts on this one. And as for the last two films,
You're embarrassing us.
actually, you're embarrassing yourself, but Kingdom of the Crystal Skull takes place in 1957, and Dial of Destiny takes place in 1969. So a lot has happened, and a lot could have happened to Indy, beginning with the end of The Last Crusade, which took place in 1938. Before I show you my pick for the second and final watch, let me give you an honorable mention here. The watch I almost picked was a Citizen Avian, and this is the AW 1361, and this is part of the Weekender series. It's an Eco Drive watch. It's very reminiscent of a pilot watch from the 40s and 50s. 45 millimeter case. I love the 3-day date cluster at the 3 o'clock position. A lot of cool features to this watch, and a very interesting colorway with that gray dial. Unfortunately, nothing is applied. Everything is printed, starting with that white chapter ring and Citizen Eco Drive call out. We have 3 rings of numbers. The inner ring is a 24-hour in the gold lettering. We step out from there to a 12-hour red, and then the minutes are outlined in gold as well. There is still some character, though, with that step at the chapter ring, and then you can see sort of that groove at the red 12-hour ring. I guess that may be where our Eco Drive system is, which is a powered by light system. Never needs a battery, so great technology and character. Do have a little bit of lume applied to the hour and the minute hands. Looks like our second hand has excellent reach with just some hint of orange at the very tip that matches the hour hand. Excellent all-around vintage styling with a more modern size of 45 millimeter on that stainless case. Very cool watch, and very surprised that Disney and Lucasfilm didn't opt to partner with Citizen on a watch for a Indy watch, since they already have established partnerships with Disney and many of its franchises. So at best, a very interesting business decision, or lack thereof. Okay, let's get our Orient Bambino Small Seconds on the wrist as we prepare to talk about our second selection for Indiana Jones for the post-trilogy films. For my second Indy watch choice, we could go land, sea, or air. I have selected to go with sea, and what I feel is a watch that is a true treasure hunter's watch. Not to mention that there is even a scuba diving sequence in the new Indiana Jones film, The Dial of Destiny, so this is pretty appropriate and extremely practical since a lot of the treasure and artifacts that Indiana Jones may have been looking for would have been on sunken ships or perhaps in underwater caves on the coastline. I mean, you saw Goonies, right? With all of this in mind, my first choice would be the Blancpain 50 Fathoms dive watch, and it's really the world's first modern dive watch. Originally released in 1953, they beat a lot of watchmakers, including Rolex, to the punch by patenting the unidirectional locking rotating bezel. They applied O-rings at the crown. So this was a serious dive watch that was utilized by diving professionals throughout the world, as well as many special forces units, including the U.S. Navy SEALs. So a lot of history to this watch, and just an amazing example of precision innovation as well as awesome durability. That said, these watches are works of art. If you look at the movement itself, just a gorgeous handmade movement that is just impeccable. And now for the bad news, at least for me, the price is just out of my reach. It's $15,700 is what the 50 Fathoms starts at. I've seen pre-owned versions around the $9,000 range from reputable dealers. Regardless, Blancpain is a Swiss watchmaker that's been around since the 1700s, currently owned by the Swatch Group. There is a more affordable version of the 50 Fathoms. It is a collaboration between Swatch and Blancpain. It's a little smaller, and it features a bioceramic case. Very interesting looking watch that I definitely plan on getting a hold of and reviewing in the near future. But that's a different video. Let's get back to our Indiana Jones segment. So we mentioned the Blancpain 50 Fathoms is still in production, but it is out of my price range for the time being. But hey, we are talking about the magic of Hollywood and movie making, so I found a very affordable stand-in on Amazon that I feel is going to articulate the look and feel of what we're going for. I did purchase this watch with my own money on Amazon. I'll put an affiliate link if you're interested. But so far so good. My first impression is this looks amazing. It's got that wonderful 316L stainless steel, which is bead blasted. It should repel stains and smudges. Also, the gorgeous synthetic glass. It's a mineral glass that's domed. It's got a wonderful distortion to it. And ceramic surround on that rotating bezel. Very smooth bezel though, which gives it sort of that traditional appeal. Love this NATO strap. This is a 20 millimeter strap. We do have a screw down crown. The bezel does rotate. It's unidirectional, 120 click. Very nice feeling. Not as grippy as a typical dive watch, but still feels very smooth and premium. I should also point out, in the glare of these studio lights, you can see that blue AR coating, anti-glare. Love the patina markings on the dial, giving you sort of that classic vibe. You've got the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9. Let's take a quick side shot. I'm happy to see drilled lugs, and look at that crystal. Great distortion there. Man, I am loving this first impression. This watch is gorgeous. Also very impressed with this black nylon 20 millimeter NATO as we expose our screw down case back. Let's get the protective coating off. Not much ASMR there, but have some interesting markings as well as where there's a will, there's a way. Love that. Sort of stirs the adventurer in all of us. And maybe you could put something about Indy on this, Fortune and Glory. But that's very cool. It's nice to see that Thorn is putting some touches of their own on this. There's definitely some tribute to our original 50 Fathoms, but this has got a lot of unique specs. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. As we unscrew our screw down crown, which has a very nice feel to it, there is no date on this movement. So our crown will be simply to wind the watch. Of course, we can hack the seconds and set the time. Very nice, smooth resistance to that plunger. So 200 meter water resistance should be well within its reach. Very nice quality. Let's feel that sweep. You can see we've got great C3 luminous application to our hands, as well as the chapter ring and the ceramic inserted bezel. Very responsive, great feel, great fit finish so far. Wonderful first impression as we dial in our time. All right, we'll get this thing wound up to build up our 40-hour power reserve on our automatic movement here. As we set the time and finalize and get the crown screwed back into place, secure, and ready for another adventure. Let's get our strap back on. We'll take off our Orient Bambino real quick, and let's get this 50 Fathoms from Thorn on the wrist. Love that watch. What do you think? That's a great looking diver, and there's a lot of character there. Love the simplicity of this watch, and this is a well-made, very affordable and formidable tribute to our 50 Fathoms. And I'm very pleased. I think this is well worth the money. Does it scratch my itch for a Blancpain? No, not necessarily. But this is definitely a neat watch in its own. And more importantly, a very cool watch that could have been worn by our hero Indiana Jones in the later films. Just saying. We'll put up some quick specs there for you to review. But overall, very pleased with the size of this watch. The case is a 40mm case, but it rides boldly and very comfortably. Quick future shot through the magic of YouTube. I almost forgot to check the lume. The Orient Bambino has no lume on it. Yes, I have a James Bond vintage NATO on our 50 Fathoms right now, hitting it with some UV light. You can see we've got great illumination at the markers as well as the chapter ring and the bezel. And excellent C3. That green lume looks awesome. Well, what do you think? Still not convinced that this is an Indiana Jones watch? Well, stand by 1 second. One more thing I picked up on Amazon to go with this watch is this awesome NATO strap that is brown or tannish in color, and 20mm lug width, fits perfectly. And love how it ties in with that patina that is applied to the markers and the numbers. So it looks awesome. What do you think? Really liking this brown NATO strap. I just love the simplicity of the watch, and it just ties in perfectly with the older bygone era. No complications, just a straightforward, very cool watch that's ready for whatever you can throw at it. As we wind down this video, thanks so much for tuning in. And it looks like our Temple Escape Raiders of the Lost Ark Indy likes both of these watches. Let me know your thoughts. Alright, I can't leave without putting this back on the wrist. And this brown strap really works for me. I love it, man. And bring on the leather jacket. Bring on the hat. Saddle up, short round. Let's go seek some fortune and glory. This watch could have been in all the movies as far as I'm concerned. I don't care about the time and the placement of the plots. It doesn't matter. It's the magic of cinema. I think it would be believable no matter what, because Indiana Jones can do anything, right? That's all I got for this one, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on this. What would you give Indiana Jones? And please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.